Of Talkin Cowboys as we get you set for the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers on Sunday afternoon at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. I am Bill Jones along with Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, and Brian Broaddus. And we've got a special treat today because it being a fabulous Football Friday edition, we now are bringing in a new audience on Texas 21 in Dallas-Fort Worth.
I have to make sure I keep smiling.
And that's why you wore a dress shirt today, Mickey?
No, I have to do a TV thing right after.
Just say you're dressing up for the show.
No,
Come on.
I'm not.
I did. I dressed up for the show.
Yeah, look at Bill. Got real dressed
for the first time all football season, I showered on a Friday morning. That's
Took
right.
off the Pebble Beach hat that you wear usually on the show.
That's exactly right.
See, I was being honest. You know.
And so it is great to welcome in the Texas 21 audience. And this show every Friday will air on Texas 21 in Dallas-Fort Worth from 8 until 9 o'clock. It's not going to change much as far as what we do on Friday mornings. Go a little bit longer with the show, which is a special treat for our DallasCowboys.com listeners and viewers. And, of course, you can check us out on DallasCowboys.com and all the other places where you normally will find Cowboys podcast and of that sort. And we get things started by wondering who's going to play in this football game on Sunday afternoon. We just heard Jason Garrett's Friday morning press conference, and there's hope on the Lyle Collins front.
Yeah, I think that's a good. They did what they have to do to get him ready for this game, and he's going to practice today. And talking to people, I know we all do that, but in talking to some folks, they felt like, okay, he's in a good spot, and the rest helped him, and we'll see him practice today, and then you'll see him out there on Sunday going against the law firm of Smith & Smith. You know, they're going to need him to play. They're going to need him to play well because of Cam Fleming being on the other side. They can't have too many liabilities along that offensive line, and Lyle Collins has done a super job with his consistency overall playing that right tackle spot. So, they're going to have some concerns over on the left side, but it's good to have him playing that right tackle.
Yeah, and you can't help out like both sides.
Yeah.
You start spreading yourself thin on offense. So I assume they're going to help out Cam Fleming, and they're going to have to rely on L.C. Collins to play to the level he's been playing at all season long.
It's a tough spot when early in the week you got 3 different spots change because of those 2 situations. So getting him back's big and allows Connor Williams, a second-year guy, to play his normal spot at left guard in the game, which is important.
Yeah, I think, though, that the plan was to get him some reps at tackle as the possible swing guy, but it worked out really nicely for him that he, if he's going to have to probably go into a game, it would probably be on that left side if you were going to make some switching around there. But, the fact he played on the right side, they can kind of say, okay, he was a left tackle at Texas. Got a little work on that right side. So, he's a pretty, he's an athletic guy. He's flexible position-wise. But just good that he got a whole practice where he can be a part of that. I think a great sign of that by yesterday, what this condition of Collins is the fact that they went ahead and put Brandon Knight over there. If Collins wasn't going to play, and play well, then they would have probably kept Williams over there.
In yesterday's practice.
Yeah. Give him a full week of practice.
Give him a full week of practice, though. But the fact that they moved him back to his guard spot tells me that Collins will be ready to go.
Yeah, and they just had to safeguard themselves as much as anything.
Protect yourself, absolutely.
Yeah, if someone goes down in the game, and then you've got to move one of those guards out to tackle at that point.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on the injury front, Tyrone Crawford making some progress.
First time he's practiced in forever.
Almost 3
since
weeks.
He played the season opener.
Season opener, that's right, Mick.
So he practiced on a limited basis. And, their normal protocol when a guy's been out that long is you ease him back into practice 1 week, and then the next week maybe say, okay, it's ready to go. Jason was kind of on the fence when he answered that question today, and I don't know if he was sandbagging or what, but that's kind of how he answered it.
Yeah, I think he might be sandbagging it. I think that just talking to some folks, Mickey, and again, you're the path you're going down is right, and it's been very consistent that way. They're thinking about what's going on at defensive tackle now. They're looking at their spots and saying, okay, where can we maybe not playing him as the right end, but playing him as the defensive tackle inside, playing him as that and not starting him. I mean, you've got Covington as the nose and then Collins, but maybe they can, by way Mickey's talking about, work him back inside, but work him back in as a 3 technique. And then that allows Collins to go over and play. So they have another body inside. With the way that Quinn has been playing the last couple of weeks at that right end spot, they're like, wait a minute, we're not going to take him off the field, which initially I thought that was going to be the plan. It was going to be
like a rotation.
Collins Crawford starting at the right end, and then you bring in Quinn as needed. But Quinn looks like to me, put the mud on the wagon, let him go, and then next thing you know, you're helping yourself inside a little bit.
Quinn played 50 snaps in the game against the Saints, and so he's not just a situational pass rusher. He's an underrated run defender too. But what do we always say about Tyrone Crawford? He's your chess piece. He's a guy wherever you need him to play. If you need him to set the edge at defensive end, he can do that. If you need him to kick inside, he can do that. And if he can get back and be part of a rotation, maybe that helps him manage that hip issue that's really been bothering him since off-season workouts. Really.
Yeah, the opposite hip, bursitis is what they're calling it. So
and definitely would help them on their nickel.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they would have some flexibility in there because the way he answered the question for Woods, it didn't.
You're right about that, Mickey. And I heard you this morning on 105.3, The Fan, talk about that. Woods is a week away. He got some limited practice snaps, just doesn't have the lateral agility that he's had. And so they're thinking, okay, get him on his feet, get him acclimated again, and then next week you'll see him get a full load of practice and then be ready for the Jets.
How do you think all this then affects Tristan Hill being active?
I think Tristan Hill will probably be standing next to you in the pregame.
All right. I can have a conversation with him.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll talk Central Florida.
Okay, so what do they think about how Tristan Hill has looked here?
I don't think there's been any problems with Tristan Hill. I just think it's a little bit better. It's just a numbers thing, and they have some depth at that position, and they can take, like Mickey said, he brought up a great point. How do you help the nickel pass rush? Yeah. If you get a fresh Crawford in there that can penetrate along with Collins. What have we talked about? Affect the front of the pocket for this quarterback. Keep him there and then allow that rush to scream off the edge. But Mickey brought up a great point about David Bakhtiari, the left tackle. Struggled a little bit in that Philadelphia game. You got on the other side, though, you look at Brian Bulaga. He's dealing with a shoulder. Now, he's been practicing, but he's dealing with a shoulder. So get Tank Lawrence to beat on him a little bit in that game. Now you got push in the middle, squeeze on the outside. Aaron Rodgers, don't let him escape that. He's held the ball a little bit longer. Talking to some folks with the Packers, they're like, the Rodgers, we were talking about the running ability and stuff, which he can still do. He'll take off. He'll do those things to you. But there's been times where he's one of those guys where if he feels it, he'll tuck the ball and fight for another day. He'll take the sack and move on. So if you can keep the pressure in the middle with Crawford and Collins, those guys are great. They've been getting stunts. They've been running those twist stunts, and that's getting those defensive ends home, and that's how you play.
Jaylen Smith's big sack at the end of the game there, that was a stunt involved there. I think it was Malik
Collins,
and Hyder.
Hyder, right. Yeah.
That helped get Jaylen free.
And Quinn taking 3 blockers. Quinn, they try to kind of wad everything up, and Quinn had 3 guys on him, and Smith came on a tight enough path to get to attack the pocket.
So they're kind of in the same situation the Cowboys would have been in. Can you help out both tackles?
Yeah.
And if you do that, then the guys inside have to be able to produce.
Yeah.
All right, absolutely. We're going to turn our attention to the Cowboys offense and Michael Gallup's availability. Plus, I'm asking the question, who would you like to see get more touches on offense against the Packers on Sunday?
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Talkin Cowboys continues from here inside the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco. And for those of you who are new to the show on Texas 21, our studios here at the Star are right next to the practice field. When the Cowboys do go out on that outdoor practice field, which is basically once a week, their Wednesday practice, here on a Friday, they are inside Ford Center as they are on Thursdays, getting set for the Packers on Sunday afternoon. Mickey, go back to your history. Cowboys and the Packers. Do you have a favorite moment in this series?
A favorite moment?
A favorite moment in the Cowboys-Packers series.
Well, unfortunately for the folks in this room, I'm probably the only one that remembers the first two moments in the NFL championship game in
1966 and 67.
Yep. Mick grew up a Packer fan in Chicago, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So you were gleeful.
I lived and breathed anything Vince Lombardi said and Bart Starr said. Absolutely.
How about you, Brian Broaddus? You have a history with this Packers organization.
5 years of my life up there in Green Bay. The best memory for me is by far winning the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. The worst memory is always coming down here and getting my ass kicked by Mickey's Dallas Cowboys. And I always remember those the great Reggie White and how much he hated playing against Eric Williams. Mm-hmm. And we were all celebrating a big victory against the 49ers. We're on our way to the championship game, and Reggie's sitting in his locker, and he's just looking down, and we all go, Reg, what's wrong? Eric Williams. That's what's wrong. Eric Williams. He hated playing Eric Williams. But, we never ever had a really good run against these guys with the players that we had. I mean, I felt like we had a good roster in Green Bay, but not a good enough roster to beat the team. And that they had at that time. But it's a very historic rivalry, and I think it's a very good rivalry. I think there's a lot of respect between the two organizations there. And I know when working in Green Bay and being from Dallas and living up there was a healthy respect for that.
And when the schedule comes out, and at the end of last season, you're going to be playing, the Cowboys are going to be playing the Packers, you kind of circle that game.
Sure. And how fitting in the 100th anniversary of the NFL to bring these teams back together again. They first met in 1960 with the Cowboys' first season.
By the way, I went back, this is years ago, I went back in the archives at Valley Ranch. They had the old newspaper clippings in 1960. It was a huge deal in Dallas when the Packers came to town, and it was a preseason game.
The Salesmanship Club game.
Salesmanship Club game. But that first one in 1960, it was banner headlines in the Dallas Morning News for a preseason game. I mean, the whole city was so excited that the Green Bay Packers are coming to town.
First game I ever saw was in 1960. I was 5 years old. It was a Salesmanship Club game between the Packers and the Cowboys at the Cotton Bowl.
It was Lombardi and Landry going at each other after serving as assistant coaches for the Giants.
How about that? Yeah.
And Landry never beat him as a Green Bay Packer head coach either, by the way. So
not many people did.
I'll give you two real quick memories. The first one was the Ice Bowl. The ball's on the goal line. Time's running out. Packers are out of first downs, and I'm yelling at my dad. I'm going, what's he doing going for it? Because if they don't get it, the game's over. They got to kick the field goal and tie it. Yeah. Well, what did I know? At
and that footing was so horrible.
Is that the point in time in your life you realized you always had to be right?
Yeah. I said, because at least my dad said, no, they should go for it. Right?
That was the moment.
No, I tell you what, but Vince Lombardi will tell you he could not allow the fans to sit in that conditions any longer. That's what he said after the game.
Well, they weren't going to go overtime. They couldn't ask the players to it. And then my second most memorable moment, my friend's parents had a cabin north of Green Bay, and I used to go up there every summer with him. And his dad was one of those guys where you had to get there in a certain amount of hours, no stopping, right? Mm-hmm. And every year we went through downtown Green Bay and went right by their Hall of Fame. They went right by, and he would never stop. Yeah. So when we got old enough, we stopped because we were driving ourselves. We went in there, we went through the whole thing, and we started watching all the videos, right? Yeah. All the old games. Yeah. And finally, we had been in there 2 hours watching games, and the guy comes out of the video room and he goes, okay, which game do you guys want to watch now? Yeah. And we named the game and he played it for us.
I'll go a little more recent. 2007, Texas Stadium, 2 one-loss teams. I think it was the week after Thanksgiving. We saw the first glimpse of Aaron Rodgers in this rivalry.
Sure did.
Brett Favre gets hurt. Cowboys win that game, but Rodgers gave him a lot of trouble. They hadn't really game planned for him, and now here we are. they got to stop him once again. And you know it's going to be a challenge, even if they're depleted potentially in the offensive line or wide receiver.
I think he helped them put up like 27 points after Favre got knocked out in the first quarter.
They didn't have an answer for him.
How about recent memory? If you want to talk about Dak Prescott, how many rookie quarterbacks go into Lambeau Field and go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers and win? Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose games at Lambeau Field. He played horribly, and the Cowboys did a great job of some big chunk plays.
That was huge.
For a rookie quarterback to go in there and get a victory on that day, that says a lot about him. He went to a couple places that year. Went to Pittsburgh and got a win, too, which is not another easy place to have to deal with.
And what I remember more than anything from that Green Bay game was at the end of the first half, and the Cowboys are backed up at their own 5-yard line or whatever, and that drive.
The jet sweep on third down.
That's right. Yeah. But that drive, just taking it down the field in that environment at Lambeau Field.
It's tough.
I mean, that was when I first realized, hey, Dak Prescott might have it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's a reminder, there's a lot of history in those buildings, but he played in the SEC. Zeke was a national champion. Those young guys,
played the big house. Yeah,
they didn't fear those type of environments,
no,
and now they're experienced players in the league.
Yeah.
And even in the playoff game that year, falling behind in the way Dak rallied the troops.
Wasn't his fault, I don't think.
No, but they did fall behind.
They did.
But
in
that situation where they had to come from behind, I thought that said a lot about Dak. And he's matched up against Aaron Rodgers here.
He has had a nice career playing against the Packers. I mean, you can say, if you look at just how he's played, I think there's that playoff game. I don't think you put it on him.
Right.
I mean, usually the quarterback is he gave you a chance.
That was a draw basically.
You just played one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League in that game, and he came out for the better.
Which is how Chris Richard
that's what I was just going to say.
described you yesterday too.
Well, it's not not wrong.
The other thing about Aaron Rodgers, he is number 1 all time in career passer rating in the National Football League.
So Jason Garrett was right about that.
Yeah.
When he said look it up, and I did.
Yeah.
And he is.
Yeah. About passer rating.
Passer rating for a
the
career.
numbers against the Cowboys are incredible.
And he has the single season, and he has the single season highest quarterback rating ever.
Well, and here's the other thing that Jason Garrett brought up to me when we taped the Jason Garrett show this week. I brought up the career passer rating thing, and he basically said, you can look this up too. When he has 2.5 seconds or more to throw.
Now, how did you look that up?
No, I didn't look it up. He said they have analytics. Your favorite term, Mickey. They have analytics that show that when Aaron Rodgers has 2.5 seconds or more to throw, he has an even higher passer rating.
It's no question. I mean, just watch. You don't need analytics to tell you that. Just watch the damn game. I mean, you could see when his ability to buy time. That's going to be huge. If you talk about keys to the game for the Cowboys, you're going to have to carry receivers down the field. You're going to have to be ready for some frustrating plays, though, too. You're going to have to be really short memory here when you play the Packers, especially Rodgers, because he is going to make some plays that absolutely just kill you. But you got to put it behind you and get ready for the next play. Because Mickey said again on the radio, I was listening this morning, he was talking about that stare that Rodgers gets. When he gets into that mode where he's almost like he's hypnotic, where he's just in a trance, that's when he's really tough.
Okay, let's get back to the stare here in just a moment here on Texas 21 and DallasCowboys.com. Talking Cowboys continues.
Player could look good on paper. It's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The excitement of Dallas Cowboys football is back at AT&T Stadium.
The place is going crazy in Arlington, Texas.
Don't miss your chance to see the Cowboys live when they host their NFC East rivals, the Eagles, Giants, and Redskins, plus the Green Bay Packers and more.
Elliott works his way through and walks the dog.
Single game tickets are on sale now. Get them before they're gone.
First and goal, quarterback sneak. Prescott pushes up the middle. Touchdown.
Visit DallasCowboys.com to get your tickets today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Work the Cowboys way in an elevated co-working experience at Formation with unmatched attention to detail. The new co-working space has flexible membership options available to meet a multitude of business needs. Choose from open workspaces, dedicated desk, and private offices located at the Star in Frisco. Be sure to book your tour today at Formation at thestar.com.
Trying to figure out how to get my film gear up there.
Bill needs to rent a room up there.
I do.
Us.
I
Yes.
do need that. That's
When they said elevated, it didn't mean it was 3 floors up. It means
It's plush.
yes.
It
I
is.
need to
There's the
go
word
check
I was
that
looking
out.
for.
Yeah, it's a great place to work.
Yes.
My gosh, yes. If you needed a big time address with it's quiet and
That's what I need.
access to a lot of things. I mean,
I'm up here a lot lot during the day waiting
is
to tape shows and stuff. It
unreal.
would be perfect for
And if
me.
you want to daydream, you can look out the windows.
yeah, you're right.
I have no problem daydreaming, looking out a window or looking at a
staring at
blank
the
wall.
wall.
That's right. All right. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers a moment ago and that stare. I remember when Tom Brady played at Texas Stadium back last decade, and during a game, they showed a shot of him on the sideline, and everyone else is sweating their butts off.
Right.
And he's got such a cool, calm, collected appearance about him, demeanor, and he hadn't even broke a sweat. Aaron Rodgers has that same look about him as he plays a football game. But the stare, what do you talk about with the stare?
Go ahead, Mickey, you got it.
Well, he just has these cold eyes, and he never changes an expression. And he looks like and I'm writing my column about him, and I said it's like he's got X-ray eyes. He just stares right through you. And I was talking to Jeff Heath, and Jeff Heath said, he's got this weird habit. And he said it's a good one for him that a lot of times when he's kind of moving around in the pocket, you're supposed to always keep your eyes downfield. He goes, his eyes are low. He's looking for some place to squeeze through. And he can still run, right? I know he's getting older, but he can still run. He can still move. And if you remember when they beat the Cowboys up there after the 2014 season, he was playing on one leg. He had a calf muscle injury. And the Cowboys couldn't catch him. I think they sacked him once on one leg. So now imagine with 2 good legs. So, yeah, that stare he uses in the TV commercial, that's on the field.
It's like he's aware of where everybody is on the field.
yeah.
Brian talked about his vision, too, during the week. And to me, that's a great example of a guy that's had a decade plus in the pocket, seeing everything there is to see. And that's an example for Dak Prescott as he moves on throughout his career. I was reminded of him just watching the game last night, Seattle, watching Russell Wilson do his thing. They're similar in that regard. Mickey said he'll take off and run, and Chris Richard said yesterday, discipline rushes. The whole thing about keep them in the well. It's very similar. They played Seattle a lot. They played Green Bay a lot, and it's the same thing. You got to rush. Can't be afraid to rush, but you got to make sure he doesn't get out of the pocket because he'll still do it, and he'll still beat you that
get
way.
him on the ground.
This is the type of game he lives for. It's the national stage, and he doesn't have all his weapons. There's a good chance that Davante Adams is not going to play, and he's going to go out there and say, okay, I've got this against me. I got this against me. I'm missing I got banged up linemen. One of my running backs is out. My best wide receiver's out. This is the type of game he lives for, where he can show everybody how good Aaron Rodgers really is.
My other best wide receivers on the other team now.
Yeah. But that's how he plays. That's his demeanor. He will come out here and and he's going to throw the ball up to these guys. This Scantling and Allison and those guys, get ready. That ball is going to go down the field. It's going to go elevated, and the Cowboy secondary had better be ready. They're either going to have to defend, jump balls all day, or they're going to get pass interference to me. But he is going to test this Dallas secondary with these tall receivers.
I'll give you another guy. I went behind enemy lines this morning on GreenBayPackers.com listening to one of their shows.
Well.
And
Dick Ketchman still up there doing stuff?
I didn't even catch who was doing the shows. I was just listening. And they were talking about this rookie from North Dakota State, Darius Shepard, number 10, who was on the field at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And they were talking about he actually worked with the ones a lot during the offseason.
Sure did.
And they were talking about that final play where they should have had the pass interference. Well, if you look at that play, Darius Shepard, and I think Rodgers even said after the game, he said, if I would have just waited another tick, Shepard was coming open, and I should have thrown the ball to Shepard instead.
Or they should just run the ball. That would have been
that too.
Yeah, with 2 timeouts. That'd be
that
nice
too.
Yeah.
But there's a name for you, Darius Shepard. With Davante Adams probably out. They're not ruling him out yet because he's a tough guy and has come back and played the 2015 season.
Unless he's Sterling Sharp and used to take shots in his toe, this kid's not playing.
And by the way,
that's what
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you can just call him MVS. That's what the Packers call him, MVS.
Well, let me write that down.
Like LVE.
There we go.
MVS.
There you go. So MVS, Geronimo, and Darius Shepard are the guys.
And as Chris Richard said, he can throw anybody open.
It's very Brady-like, because how many guys has Brady played with in the passing game over 20 years? And how many Hall of Fame receivers has he had? Rodgers has it too. There's certain guys that Breeze is the same way over 15, 20 years. They can get guys the ball. It really doesn't matter.
That's why these guys that played in the salary cap era that are quarterbacks, I have the utmost respect for them.
Yeah.
Because nothing against Montana, Bradshaw, Staubach, and those guys, Bob Greasy, nothing against them. They had the same damn team every year.
Yeah.
For every year they played, they had the same team. So these salary cap quarterbacks are a little bit different cats.
All right, from the Cowboys' perspective, Michael Gallup limited in practice for the second straight day.
Let's call him good to go.
It does look like he's good to go.
Let's call him good to go.
And Amari Cooper, a full participant in practice yesterday.
Good to go.
Too.
Good to go, too. Yeah. Let's go.
They get some guys back, and that'll certainly help out their versatility on offense to have Gallup back in there.
So who in this offense?
So
just clear the
Kevin
slate.
King doesn't play for them. That would help.
He has, what injury does he have? The groin
what's he got?
injury.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot. What is it? It's something with his leg. Lower body?
Yeah, it's in hockey terms.
It's a hockey injury.
It's a lower body injury.
It's lower body.
Lower body injury.
It's a
All right,
groin injury.
So we got 1 minute left in this segment. All right, I'm just going around the horn. Who in this Cowboys offense would you like to see get more touches?
Pollard, because that means
Tony Pollard, more than 2 touches.
Because that means Zeke is just pounding away in the second half. That's when Pollard got the bulk of his work the other day, a couple weeks ago.
You got Pollard.
Give me Gallup. I want to see the juice. I want to see the juice, get that ball, get upfield, kind of frustrate these Packers in the secondary a little bit.
Well, then that leaves me Ezekiel Elliott again for the second week in a row. And this time it's going to work.
The old pick to click.
It's going to work this time.
That wasn't your pick to click. It can be your pick to click, but you can save that for the next segment. We're going to do the pick to click coming up here in just a moment. But I'm going with Zeke too. I mean, I think just pound away at this Packers.
You guys
defense.
are getting so old school. The analytics guys.
Yeah, they hate us, right? Because they might have to run on first down.
Because the Cowboys are back home, and it's time to open it up again, right?
There you go.
It doesn't matter that the Packers haven't defended
They
the
might
run.
have to score a lot of points in this game.
Minimize Rodgers' opportunities.
There you go.
There you go. Shorten the game that way?
Yes.
Is that what you're getting at?
Teddy Bridgewater plan.
Our picks to click when Talkin Cowboys comes back in a moment.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Talkin Cowboys continues here from the SWC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco. Cowboys and Packers on Sunday afternoon. We take your phone calls, too, here on Talkin Cowboys at 888-855-2297. And a couple of segments left here on a Friday morning, as this show also airs on Friday evening on Texas 21 in Dallas-Fort Worth from 8 until 9 o'clock. For those of you watching on Texas 21, we are here every day during the football season, Monday through Friday, live show on DallasCowboys.com at 11 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. All right, our picks to click in this game against the Packers. We'll go around the horn here. And, Mickey, you kind of hit on
I kind of
yours.
exposed myself
yes,
already.
Go
What
so
my
let's
pick
go
is. Let's go with Ezekiel Elliott once again. In the last 3 games, this Packer defense has given up average of 174 yards rushing. And if they don't adjust their alignment, then Zeke will run for 200 yards.
Oh, you're going out on a limb?
Yes.
200 yards rushing.
Yes.
For Zeke Elliott.
If they don't change how they line up.
If.
There's an if there.
Okay.
Of course there is.
I qualified it.
As I am always right. Yes.
About time you guys have figured that out.
Just after that Ice Bowl game.
52 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been right for 52 years.
Man's a genius. I'm going to go with Robert Quinn. And I know that's stepping out on a limb, too. But I looked it up. He's played against A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, 4 times. He sacked him in 3 of those 4 games. 3.5 career sacks
Look at that research.
against him. I'm an
Knew
Aggie.
he was going to be on TV today.
It could be a little off, but I looked it up right before the show. Chris Richard was more impressed with Quinn's celebration after his sack the other day than the actual bend he has around the edge. It's like the guy's flexibility is incredible. He said it was like a cobra. You know, he's been outstanding for this defense. He gives them juice, and I think it's going to help DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side as well, because you know Tank's dealing with some stuff. He's got 3 things listed on the injury report right now, so that can only benefit Tank on the other side too.
All right, and let me ask you, because you brought it up on Aaron Rodgers, and I was going to ask the question last segment about Robert Quinn. You know, he comes so hard off the edge.
Oh, yeah.
But, and you may have answered the question by the number of sacks he's had of Rodgers in his career. Does he have to do something different against Rodgers just to make sure that he contains and doesn't let him step up?
His responsibility is, like, he does a great job of staying flat. There's some of those rushers that you see will go so hard up the field that it creates a natural lane in between the tackle and then the end. There's that space where he can go out the back door just, as you go over that tackle box, that bubble area there. So, yeah, Quinn does a great job of getting around the corner, dipping, and then sharpening the edge where he ends up at the level of the quarterback. He's watched enough tape of Rodgers and played against Rodgers enough to understand where he sits in the pocket. So Quinn should be good as far as not going too far up the field. Now, Dorrance Armstrong or maybe even Kerry Hyder to a point, maybe they get too far up the field or get washed or pushed, and then that's when you have the problem with him going out the back door on you.
And the key thing with him is not only is he quick, and especially with that first step, but he's also strong enough to do what Brian just said. Instead of letting them just run him right up the field, when he gets to that spot where he's got to turn, he's strong enough to give a push.
He could turn it, yeah.
And that helps out.
And like Tank, just his motor, chasing down plays from behind, his second effort, even when he's not getting to the quarterback. We saw it against Bridgewater last week. That energizes the entire defense. He's really been a huge boost to this group so far.
All right, pick to click for Brian.
Young Bill Walsh.
Kellen Moore.
I know it. I'm going different from the players.
Hadn't been a good week for those young geniuses.
No.
Look at Sean McVay with the Rams. He lost 2 games this week.
But absolutely. That tree of his is losing some branches for sure. But I think this with Kellen Moore, though. I think that Kellen Moore, it was a good lesson for him last week in that Saints game. As you look down his play sheet, he was having some struggles. His front wasn't playing very well. His receivers dropped a couple passes. His quarterback wasn't accurate. The other team held the ball on him a little bit. I think he gets back into a rhythm in this game. I think he gets back into an offensive rhythm. I think the line will play better in this game, and we need to see what happens. Mickey's been alerting us about Cam Fleming. He's absolutely right. Keep an eye on that left side in this game early. If he can play by himself and not have issues that have to have help, then that'll allow them to do a lot of things. But I think Kellen Moore gets back into the good vibes of calling plays, the good rhythm. And he's going to get some guys on the outside that are going to help him make some plays. When you talk about, I think Cooper, Gallup, Cobb, the tight end Witten, Jarwin, and then the ability, like Mickey says, to run the football. If you can show a little bit of balance, some of those chunk plays again, I think the rhythm comes back, and I think Kellen Moore has a better game. He is my pick to click this week.
Okay,
and what about you?
My pick to click, I'm going to retract my pick to click last week, which was Randall Cobb, and I'm going to make him my pick to click this week against his former team, the Packers. I
got you.
I don't know what I was thinking last week.
So he had a chance to make a couple plays.
He did have a chance,
that play at the end of the game was huge. There's not many people that could, with three guys converge and make that catch. It's a shame they didn't have the extra 10 seconds to maybe do something with to get in field goal range and see if they can make a field goal. After last night, I don't know if you can make 44-yard field goals anymore anywhere in this league. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
So according to Brian now, that Kellen Moore then will be calling his own plays this week.
There you go.
Did you hear him yesterday? Mm-hmm. It was a pretty good remark.
Yeah. He's always calling his own plays.
They were trying to give him an excuse and saying, well, now did Jason Garrett have some influence on her? He goes, so what are we saying when we score no more than 10 points to Jason's plays?
That's right. All right, Junior in Utah, you're up on Talkin Cowboys. Hello, Junior.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Great.
I just have a question for you guys.
Okay.
With Aaron Rodgers, the way that he passes, the way that he is in the pocket, he's really good, and especially against us. He's undefeated against us at home.
Sure.
So what do you guys think about, as Jaylen, everybody talked about Jaylen Smith having struggles in the pass game with several with Joe Thomas in there. What do you guys think about using him more as a pass rusher with Quinn and Tank Lawrence in at the same time in Crawford? I'm just throwing that out there. What do you guys think about something more like that to get to Aaron Rodgers to get him uncomfortable?
That's what they're going to do.
That's what they've been doing.
They're not. It's not something you need to throw out. That's something they've been practicing all week. It's clear that Jaylen Smith, as a pass rusher, has the power, the speed, the quickness, the agility to attack the pocket. And, sometimes these linebackers, when they engage, they can't get off blocks. This guy can, when he's on the move, and he's shown the ability to have a feel for how to play in these games. And you have to have an ability to also get through those gaps, make yourself small, get up the field and attack. So, this is not something you're wishing for, Junior. This is something that's actually going to happen.
And it's been happening the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely,
they put him in a position to do that.
Last couple of years, really. I mean, a couple of years ago when he came back and he was wearing the brace and he still wasn't at his level physically, that was one thing that gave him to do, was rush the passer. He was better going forward until he got his all his range of motion back.
But you could see it even in the snap counts the last couple of weeks, whereas Joe Thomas 2 weeks ago, Sean Lee was increased this past week, but in those nickel-type situations, they've got – in fact, they had some plays where Van Der Esch and Jaylen were taken. But Jaylen is the type player going forward. That's his biggest strength.
That is a great trait to have for him. Power and forward. That's where he – and again, if Rodgers tries to run – Rodgers has got to be very mindful of playing against these linebackers. He's got to be very mindful of playing against Jeff Heath too, because if you're out there running in space, those guys will light you up. We've seen Deshaun Watson get lit up.
I think he remembers Heath's blitz in that playoff game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Where by all rights, he should have fumbled the ball.
You get guys that will light you up on the edge, then you have to be very mindful of running that football.
All right, we make our picks for the game, and Mickey has his read coming up next here on Talkin Cowboys.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not too...
It's right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store and learn how to buy one smartphone and get a second one on us. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2018.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox? The makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crock pot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True. They even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Did you guys know that Jack Black is authentic and original? I just noticed that.
Yeah.
And one of their original products, Turn Back Time Like a Pro. You get some free age-defying pros with your $75+ purchase.
Too late there.
Like protein booster skin serum and dry erase ultra calming face cream.
What was that?
Use ultra. Ultra.
Oh, you're going to say
Ultra.
Yeah, you kind of slur that in there so you get to the face cream. And if you use the code PRO, what is that, Bill?
Say it again.
PRO.
PRO. Pro. Okay.
You'll get the discount, and so to go get that, go to getjackblack.com.
Wheels were in the dirt a little bit.
They were just flowing.
And that age-defying face of Mickey Spagnola
That's
with
right.
the read.
Give me a bucket of that.
That's why you have an age-defying face.
They probably
right
would
there
never
because
guess
of
how
your
old I am.
products. That's exactly right.
Well, you said you watched the Ice Bowl, so that kind of gives them an idea.
That was a while ago, yeah.
It was. It won't be the Ice Bowl on Sunday, although I will say this. Finally, summer might be leaving. It was 95 degrees yesterday here, and it's much cooler today. But, of course, it will be room temperature 72 degrees inside AT&T Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Time to make our picks for this game. We go around the horn. And, Mickey, would you like to go first?
Sure. Since you're a meteorologist now, is the sun going to be shining through the windows?
Oh, that's a good point, too.
That's a good point.
Oh, my.
3:25 game.
Yeah, it is.
Which way do you want to go in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Do you want to go which way in that
And
stadium?
do you need to wear
Do you want
a
your
shield?
receivers looking into the sun, or do you want your quarterback, or do you want Aaron Rodgers looking into the sun?
Put Aaron Rodgers in the
There
sun.
must be a game this weekend. Look at all the tours coming through.
Yeah,
Come
we
see
got
us.
tours.
Get your
coming
pick in there,
through
Mickey.
here
Let's
this
go.
summer.
Oh, I can give you my pick real quick. We don't have to worry. Cowboys
Distractible.
27-24.
He's a distractible player.
He's a distractible
No,
player.
27-24
multitasking.
Cowboys.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like to add anything to that? Or just that's your pick?
The offense gets back on track, and the defense will do just enough against Aaron Rodgers, who still scares the daylights out of me.
Is 27 points your goal offensively?
If I can get 27 a game, I think I have
You're
a
gonna
very
be
good
fine.
chance to win. They would have won last week with 27, right?
Yes,
They
they
won
would
with
have
13.
by a lot. Yeah.
13. Yeah, half that last week.
Yeah.
Well, take three possessions, 2 lost by a fumble and a bad pass on third down.
Don't have to remind me of that.
There you go.
What do you got?
Okay, Rob Phillips.
I like Mickey's score. You know, I'll take the Cowboys in this game. I know we're talking a lot this week about is it a copycat league or defense is going to try to copy what the Saints did. I'm going to say, until proven otherwise, that's an aberration. With that noise in the Superdome, I think it was a factor. I think the offensive line gets back on track without all that noise back at home. They control the line of scrimmage. Zeke gets involved, and they're like Brian said, there's more of a rhythm to the game. And offensively, and they'll take this game, get to 4-1.
And your score is the same as Mickey's?
I'll take Mickey's score, yes.
27-24.
He's always right, so yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
It's taken a long time, but he's finally realizing that.
I'll tell you what, this game, there's two things that scare me about this game. And one of them is Cam Fleming, and the other one is Aaron Rodgers. Those are the two things that scare me in this game. Keep an eye on early about what happens with Cam Fleming. If they have to all of a sudden put resources over there to help him, that might take them out of some of their game plan stuff. So just keep an eye on what goes on. If Cam Fleming can hold up, this game plan will be a lot better. I guarantee you. I've talked about Kellen Moore and what he can do. I think they're going to have to score a lot of points in this game because of Aaron Rodgers. I think that, like I said earlier, the challenge is he's down his best weapon. What did he do last week against the Eagles? He had him on the doorstep of winning a football game with all those guys out there playing. He's going to come out throwing the football. He's going to challenge these Dallas corners. But I think that Dak Prescott will be up to the challenge too. I think they're going to have to score 31 points to win because I got Dallas 31. I've got Green Bay 28. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. It could go either way. But somehow, some way, Dallas finds a way to get a stop, and then they're able to win this football game. But it is going to be a tough game because of who is standing on the other side of that field.
I agree wholeheartly with what you're saying, and I'm going even higher with my point production for both sides. I'm going 34-31, Cowboys win. And it might be a last-second field goal that wins the game.
Don't
for
say
the
that.
Don't tell the Cowboy fans
is this some
a lengthy one.
Yeah.
So he's got a chance.
No, he's got a chance.
It's not 69 yards like it would have been last week.
No, but it's
not
turning
that
back
lengthy.
the clock to the playoff game after
How long was the
2016?
Mason Crosby field goal to beat the Cowboys in the playoffs?
Boy, that thing just barely snuck in.
50-something.
51,
That's what it's going to be
52.
this time, but it's going to be the other way around. In fact, here's what's going to happen. Dak's going to have the football in the closing seconds. He's going to escape the pocket, heave it downfield.
4th and 19.
One of his tight ends, I'm thinking Blake Jarwin, is
good.
going to make the catch on the sideline, putting the Cowboys in position to race the field goal unit out, and Brett Maher is going to make a 55-yard field goal.
So
to win
did
the game.
anybody think about not picking him? Was the Aaron Rodgers the thing that would swing you the other
Yes,
way?
it would.
Yes,
Yep.
it would.
That's
but
what,
if Devontae Adams went there, it might have swung it.
Yeah, they keep these teams you keep playing that don't have star players. But man, there was a thought of me that's like, okay, Dallas could lose this game 31-28. He gets the ball one last time, kind of a thing.
Yeah, he's that special.
So the
No
key
question.
thing is make sure he doesn't have the ball last.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other part of it is it's just this league. I mean, we're sitting here a week ago, and the Eagles are going to Green Bay, and it looks like on a short week. They're a road team, short week, and then the Cowboys are playing the Saints without Drew Brees, and we're going into last week thinking the Cowboys could have a 3-game lead in the division by the end of the weekend.
Everything.
And now
What
we
is
come
it
into
now,
this
Bill?
week, and Eagles are playing the Jets. Cowboys are playing the Packers. It could be even up by Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything tilts. The Rams have now lost a couple games in a row.
No, they did not, did they?
Yeah, they did.
The boy genius.
Yeah. So things change. Things level out.
Our final minute here. Where are you going to be on Sunday, Brian?
Be here with the pregame at the Star.
Okay, at the Star. Where can we see Mickey Spagnola
I'll be
and Rob
at
Phillips?
AT&T Stadium. My pregame hit with the fan is about 2:40, I think, out on the West Plaza.
On the sideline, pregame live.
All right. And the game is a national telecast at 3:25. There's one other game that I believe CBS has, but it's a Fox game at 3:25. On CBS 11, you can catch Danny White, Keith Russell on Cowboys Game Day at 10:30 in the morning, and catch Special Edition on Saturday night at 11, Jason Garrett Show at 11:30, and we will see you again next time here on Talkin' Cowboys.